Chapter 3. The grandeur of the Raichand mansion was imposing, its marble floors and towering chandeliers exuding wealth and power. It should have felt like home now. After all, she was the new Mrs. Raichand. But to Aadhira, it felt like a prison. The staff moved silently around her, their expressions carefully neutral, though she could feel their curiosity. Everyone had expected Ishani Kapoor as the Raichand bride. Instead, Aadhira stood in her place. She lifted her chin, refusing to let it bother her. If she had learned anything in life, it was that appearances mattered. Even if her world had crumbled, she would not let them see the cracks. Rudra entered their bedroom like a storm. The air shifted as soon as he stepped inside, his presence heavy, suffocating. Aadhira stood near the vanity, carefully removing her jewelry, but she could feel his eyes on her. Finally he spoke, his voice cold, cutting, absolute. "Let's get one thing straight, Aadhira." She turned slowly, meeting his obsidian gaze head-on. "This marriage is nothing but a business arrangement. You will act like my wife in public, but behind closed doors." He took a slow, deliberate step closer. "We are strangers." Aadhira exhaled, unimpressed. "Good. I have no interest in being anything else." His lips curved slightly, but there was no humor in his smirk. "Then you will follow my rules." She crossed her arms. "You don't get to control me, Rudra." His gaze darkened. "You have no idea what I'm capable of, Aadhira." The warning in his tone sent a chill down her spine, but she refused to look away. If he wanted a battle, she would give him one. "Neither do you." A thick silence stretched between them, charged, unrelenting. Then, without another word, Rudra strode toward his wardrobe, stripping off his sherwani jacket. The tension in his shoulders was palpable, his fury barely restrained. He didn't want her here, but he was the one who had married her, and she wasn't about to fade into the background. Aadhira slipped into a simple silk nightgown and stepped out of the bathroom, expecting Rudra to already be asleep or better yet gone. But he was still there, standing near the massive window, his hands in his pockets, his face unreadable. The moonlight slanted across his sharp features, highlighting the cold intensity in his gaze as he turned to look at her. "Do you honestly think this is going to last?" His voice was almost amused. Aadhira frowned. "What?" He took slow, deliberate steps toward her, his movements calculated, his eyes dangerous. "You." He exhaled sharply, his gaze raking over her. "Standing here, pretending to be my wife." She stiffened. "I am your wife." He chuckled low and dark. "No, Aadhira. You are just a placeholder." His words were a blade to her chest, but she refused to show it. Instead, she tilted her chin, meeting his gaze with fire in her own. "Then let me remind you, Rudra." She stepped closer, voice unwavering. "Even placeholders hold power." For a moment, something flickered in his expression. And then, Aadhira did something neither of them expected. She lifted her hand and shoved him back. Rudra's eyes widened slightly, caught off guard. A dangerous silence stretched between them. Then, ever so slowly, his lips curved into a smirk. "You should not have done that, wife." His voice was dark, laced with something dangerously seductive. Aadhira swallowed, but she held her ground. "And you should learn that I don't play by your rules." Their gazes locked. A silent war waged between them, neither backing down, neither willing to lose. And as Rudra stepped away, his smirk still in place, Aadhira realized something. This wasn't just a cold war. This was a battle for dominance. And she intended to win.